taxes.
Okay, welcome everybody to our regular meeting for City Council, City of Perry. For the first time in a while, we've got everybody here. It's been minutes. So let's go ahead and call our meeting to order and have roll call.
Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe.
Here.
Marshall. Here. Davis. Here. Coldiron.
Here.
Rutt.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
O'Shea. Here. Worthing.
Here. We have quorum. Tonight, Shea will offer our invocation, and then maybe afterwards show us the Jared McCain dance.
No, that won't. I'm saving
Oh, okay.
that one. I'm gonna practice that one. Please, please bow. Dear God in heaven, thank you for the opportunity to be here today and serve. May we use this time, Father, wisely. May we listen with our heart. May we make wise decisions, and may we speak respectfully, Father. May we serve you in all we do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shay. So no dance? I told
No
Essie I'd
dance.
ask.
No dance.
All right, well, let's go on to item number 1, our consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, roll call.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall. Yes. Davis. Yes. Coldiron.
Yes.
Rutt.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
O'Shea.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes.
And I can speak. I should say Jerry.
All right, let's go on to item number 5, our proclamations, commendations, and reports. And we'll just kick it off with our council reports. So Ward 1, Scott?
So I drove out by the Amazon facility today, that wall standing, that's pretty impressive. And then drove by the new pilot location and saw quite a bit of work going on there.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive, got things happening.
Yeah. And they're even working on the street out there by Amazon.
Yes, yeah, I couldn't get down too far because it was closed, but
Yeah. I know they're already paving the streets out there. That's nice.
I didn't see any paved.
Right, not paved, but they're getting it prepped and everything. Shay?
No.
All right.
I don't have anything. Scott stole it.
That's what I'm here for.
Good job, Scott.
You're welcome.
Austin? All right. Danette?
Nope.
Randy?
The only, I've had several people comment that they appreciated the fact that the mayor was out and about talking about the strategic plan and things were going on, and that they'd seen it in the Perry paper, and so I think it's great that we're getting the word out.
Sammy?
Nope, nothing.
And Derek? All right. Well, yeah, so I've had the chance to go to Lions and a couple other organizations and kind of promote the things that we're doing, and there's a lot of people that are getting excited about all the development. And now that we're actually able to see it, like you said, with Amazon and Pilot, the YMCA, there's a lot of projects kicking off in and around Perry. So a lot of things to get excited about. All right, we'll continue on to item number 6, our CFO monthly report. So you've got some financials and then a little presentation about ad valorem taxes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a couple of things there. Let me jump on financials just real quickly. Not a whole lot of highlights to give you this month. A couple of things to talk about though is sales tax. As we look at sales tax, for the net year to date, we're going to be down about 7% when we look through March collections. Remember, we budgeted to be down 15, so we're ahead of schedule as far as collections go. We were trying to be conservative in that. Matter of fact, Nate and I were talking today. The real difference kind of is falling out in that construction number. Just looking at what we were receiving from those one-time payers. That remitted some sales tax, remitted use tax to us directly from 2015 to 2016. I think we're down over $250,000 just in that loan. So, construction does help us a lot, but whenever it falls off, it can fall off significantly. So that's why we don't budget for it. That's why we don't plan on that being there year in and year out. Like next year, we won't take a 15% haircut on our projected revenues because we don't have those extra pieces that we think or we know potentially we're going to lose. Hopefully it'll bounce back and those will be extra dollars to us in extra pieces. As far as the month of of March's deposit. Our sales tax deposit by itself is down 6% for the month. It is our lowest sales tax collection month in the last 48 months. So it's significantly down. We had one other low month. Matter of fact, happened to be March last year. If you guys do remember, March is January's collections. So, you know, this is everybody spent all their Christmas money and everything else. And so this is the month that usually we see the lowest numbers that come through and those numbers that hit. The use tax, though, was actually going to be a good number. It was up 36% over the prior year. So as construction as outside pieces come in, so use tax is things that are delivered from out of state that are consumed, used, and built here inside the state. So, you know, I mean, we are seeing a significant number in there. It's kind of funny, month over month, if you combine sales and use tax, we're pretty much at zero. I mean, it's a flat number. So it takes about 36% to make up the 6% of sales tax, you know, that we were down, just to give you a little bit of a balance on those numbers.
So Russ, you talked about the fact that Amazon purchases and stuff fall into use tax. If you order something from any vendor, do they pay a use tax?
They will either pay a sales tax or a use tax, depending on if you order from a vendor and that vendor has a physical presence in the state of Oklahoma. And so they're already registered, they're already filing their monthly sales tax reports. They will file then a sales tax collection on our behalf.
And so we get the sales tax?
We will get the sales
Even
tax.
if they're in Oklahoma City or still?
Oklahoma City, if the delivery point is the city of Perry, okay? If delivery point is at Oklahoma City, then no, we do not get that. It's where that vendor hands off ownership of the goods.
Like with Walmart in Stillwater, if you do your groceries and you have it delivered here, the handoff is in Stillwater. But if you have it shipped, like you said, if it's shipped from Walmart to your house, then it's use
So
tax.
if it's FedEx or the US Postal Service or regular, it would count for Perry then?
Yes.
Perfect.
And even like Kroger, when we had it,
I know.
that counted here, but
Yeah,
not
because it was
Walmart because of
Kroger
how
and it
that's
was
The way they're doing it.
Okay.
Yep. So that's the, if you can't buy it here, have it shipped here, and not delivered here. You know, I mean, a third-party delivery service, they transfer ownership to the third-party delivery service at the store location, so they deem that the completion of the sale. If they hand it off to a known carrier, Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, then that's considered delivery. They still have ownership until delivery point comes to us here. So just kind of one of those fine lines that, you know, I wish that there were a better way. Matter of fact, I talked with our senator up here. I've talked with 2 or 3 legislators, you know, trying to figure out how do we make that better so the dollars that our citizens are spending and they're ending up here, we get to somehow keep. That's always the key, and it's what everybody's fighting over, those sales tax dollars. Our power cost adjustment for the month, again, you know, back to Earl, and Earl wanting this number to be 0. Matter of fact, it doesn't even round up to a penny. It's a 0.18 cents. So, you know, not 1 cent, but 0.1 cent. So another PCA number victory for Earl. Sorry, but you got to respect the man, and so I'll always give him kudos for those pieces. The CPI last month, I haven't got this month, but the Consumer Price Index is about 2.1%. We will use what is coming up on March's number. That's what we drive our projections as far as total revenue numbers and when we start talking about increases, you know, pay rates and those kind of things. That's always kind of the benchmark number. So I'll be interested to see what March's number is. I'll make sure that you guys have that next month when we get ready to talk. As far as operating expenses go, and those kind of things, you guys can see the budget, you know, there were no significant pieces really to point out. January, again, being a slow month, you will see that our hotel motel tax collections were down again on that piece, so that adds to it. You're looking year to date, yes, we're setting fine, but that was some carryover dollars from prior year that got made up, so we're still setting all right as far as hotel motel tax goes, but it's not like we're hitting home runs on that and on the travel piece. As far as the PMA goes, you will see kind of where we're setting there. Of that $445,000 of income, do know that 230 of that is still an under transfer that we haven't made to the general fund. Just because of where cash is sitting, I'm not pulling the cash out of PMA necessarily each month. So we're only setting about 48% on that side. You know, we would have another $230,000 transfer that would need to go through there. So that would lower our net income. But all in all, we're setting pretty good for where we're expected to be this time of year. Electric revenues are up over our projections, but so is our wholesale cost of electricity, which really means, you know, you'll see the 73% in each one, which kind of means they're moving dollar for dollar. Our gross profit's all we're really making off the end of that. We're not, you can't look at the fine revenue and say we're totally up that amount. But again, happy with where we are. Budget projections will get based off preliminary numbers, or right now coming out on February's. We'll update those for March numbers for projections to give you guys kind of an idea as we get into budget season, which is starting next month. So everybody, I know you're extremely happy and you're putting on smiles. So it's exactly what you live for, I know, but it's always the fun time of year. So we'll talk about that. Any questions related to the financials? If not, the other item that was on there that we at least wanted, at least from our meetings, we've been kind of kicking around talking about is, you know, the potential on ad valorem tax changes and freezes, and, you know, why do we as a city need to be concerned about that? As we don't collect ad valorem tax. Matter of fact, nothing in our operations is funded by ad valorem tax. Okay, but what is funded by ad valorem tax in our community is the county and the school district. You know, if the ad valorem tax freeze happens, or if the reductions, or whatever, all of these game plans that you guys hear out there, there still has to be a funding source. Everybody at the state level that I'm talking to, and the discussions that I have, you know, that they all acknowledge that this stuff can't go to zero. You know, whenever you do, or you get rid of the ad valorem tax, there's not a funding mechanism left to fund it. So the only thing that would be available at that point would be sales tax, as far as a commonly available piece. That jumps into our territory. That's where we start becoming concerned, you know, in how these things go down. Like everything, you know, we want to look at, and we want to watch and at least be cognizant of what the discussions are out there. You know, we're not taking a position one side or the other, but we want to know what could we be losing if something were to happen. You know, and what would happen would be, you know, potentially the share of our sales tax, or an increase in sales tax base, which thereby limits some of the propositions and some of the things that we have going on, and some of the things that we have open. You know, we have a street sales tax coming up in 28. We have the 1 1/4 cent sales tax into Lake McMurtry and the water projects coming up in 30. You know, so we have 2 sales tax that are coming up in the fourth, not too far out. You know, I mean, if we're looking at a 5-year game plan, guys, they're within our 5-year horizon, and within the 2-year horizon related to that. You know, one of the things related to those tax issues and those kind of things is we probably want to start the discussion, start the planning talks about what are we going to do on sales tax? Where are we going to go? What do we want to look at committing those to? I would love to have another unrestricted penny. You know, 2 pennies funding the general fund is not unheard of just in general terms. You know, right now we transfer $3 million out of the public works over to the general fund just to fund operations, because sales tax isn't there sufficient to cover it. Well, what does that mean? Well, the only way we generate $3 million to transfer to the general fund is because we have to make a profit in our utilities, right? And so, you know, in the indirect way, not having sales tax is driving us to have higher utilities at the end of the day. We've got to fund our police, we've got to fund our fire, we have to fund our streets, we have to fund all those things. So I just throw that out there. It's going to be one of the topics of conversations that as legislation moves forward, as things happen over the next few months, even over the next few years, because probably none of this is going to get resolved this year at the legislature. Maybe it will, but to the extent that it doesn't, this is going to become a hot topic. You hear it in other states, I mean, you're hearing it in Florida, you're hearing it in Texas, you're hearing, these pushes coming. And as those pushes come, that's where we're going to get affected. So we need to at least kind of start making sure we're buttoned down, that we know where we are and where we want to be related to sales tax as we move forward. So, questions on that? Not that I'm going to have answers, but we wanted to at least make sure that that's in front of you all. That is a long-term concern that I have, that Nate has, that as we're looking at finances and as we're looking at the city, where are our stumbling blocks? Where are the things that we should be most concerned about? Guys, that is my flag number one for us to be looking at.
What's the timeline on sales tax? So like for the next one that's coming up in 28, when do we start? Because it goes to a vote. So like when do we start looking at it? When does it go to question? When does it go to on the ballot? And what's that process?
So I'll let Bryce speak to a couple of those pieces. Let me give you just a little bit of an on-top theoretical piece. We can extend the sales tax out as long as we want. I mean, we could take that 2030. Matter of fact, we are doing it right now in one of the other communities where we're taking a sales tax that doesn't expire until 2032 maybe, and we're already pushing it out 10 more years, to make sure that we get funding for a debt project. So there's nothing that says that we couldn't take a current sales tax and make it permanent. I mean, we could run that as the question, just make it permanent, no expiration on it. We could likewise take existing sales tax at 28 and push it out another 10 years or another 15. It all takes a vote of the people.
Even to extend.
Yes,
Okay.
all of the extensions require a vote of the people, but we can kind of decide where that is. The other thing that I'm going to throw out there, and Bryce may want to hit on this, but let me at least start it. But the timing issue of if a sales tax does not pass needs to become part of our consideration also, because we want to make sure that we give ourselves enough lead time before the expiration of that sales tax that we actually don't lose it. Guys, City of Clinton literally lost a penny sales tax for a 6-month period because we didn't get it back in. Didn't start it early enough, didn't do those kind of things. So we want to make sure that we have at least opportunities that if the question we run is not a question that the voters support at that point, that we have time to go back and present other options before the expiration of the sales tax. So, you've got to back off of those, a few months. Then the third piece, at least in the consideration, is the timing for notification to the Oklahoma Tax Commission. We have to notify them effectively, before they publish the next quarter's tables. So, we've got to get those dollars to them, in those rates, the month before, so that they can make sure that they get all of that stuff in all of their updated pieces. So there's a few pieces as far as how far back you go. I say we do it tomorrow, and that way we have plenty of time. But no, it's not necessarily that. But for sure, at least 12 months before that piece comes due, and probably I would back that up at least another 6 months, if not somewhat further.
Right.
If we come across the specific project, if we come across the thing that we know we really want to do, or we're going to say, hey, this needs to be out there and this needs to be done, that's also another time that we go ahead and pull the trigger and we say, hey, here, in order to do these remaining water projects or to do these pieces, we're going to need a commitment of a penny sales tax or that penny and a quarter sales tax. Let's go ahead and get that extended now, knowing that we can go ahead and get debt issued, we can get started on the projects and we can push those forward. So,
But the one would be coming off first was to fund streets, correct?
streets, yes.
That one comes up in 28. So really here soon we'll be looking at that one, planning on what to do with it.
Yes.
And we don't necessarily think that we'll know anything about the ad valorem tax this session?
Well, they could do something this session, but I think in all reality, I think that this is going to be a multi-year piece that they try to, that there will probably be something that to appease at least the start of of the idea of doing it. But, you know, everybody's scared, you know, I mean, because they're all looking at the end game also is, what is the funding on this? You know, I mean, and if we cut this revenue source out, what happens to this revenue source? You know, the same thing happened with grocery tax, guys. I don't know if you guys remember back whenever the state was repealing the grocery tax. Well, you know, by the time the fine print finally came out, yes, there is no grocery tax at the state level, but we still collect grocery tax for city and county pieces. You know, those are the kind of things, and those are the verbiages. I'll give you, my other great example that I use right now is overtime, no tax on overtime. Well, you all know from filing your taxes and from looking at what it is, the no tax on overtime is not a no tax on that time and a half dollar that got added to your check. It's only no tax on the premium side, which is that extra 0.5% that rolls into your payroll. So, you know, you effectively have to take whatever dollars you were paid in overtime and divide it by 3 to get the amount that no tax on overtime really applies to. Your base rate, you're still getting taxed at. So it's all going to come down to what the real verbiage is whenever it finally plays out. And then how does that verbiage change over the next couple of years? Because I don't think, we'll never get it right. I assume that they will never be able to get it exactly perfect year one. And so it'll be a multiple year thing that we see.
So Bryce, to eliminate the ad valorem, would that be a constitutional change, or could the
Yes.
legislature just vote on it?
Yes. Would have to be voted on by the people.
So does it make sense for us to start like thinking about communication in our strategic plan? Like for us to be able to share the same message of what could happen, and because otherwise it's going to be, if we have to extend that sales tax, it's just going to be the city being the city rather than being proactive and looking at it. I don't know what the messaging would be, but I feel like we should all understand it very well. So, because I don't think people necessarily, this is on their mind, that ad valorem thing. It scared me.
Well, it's out there.
Yeah,
And it's something
I agree.
that we need to at least start talking about, and its effect on us.
Yeah, thank you.
And to that point, I think, just as a reminder to those watching, council knows this, but we love sales tax in the city because those passing on I-35 are the ones paying it, right? Of course, we pay it too, but your utilities are how we get the other revenues in the city. And obviously, the residents pay those purely out of pocket, where sales tax, a great percentage of that is coming from outside of the city of Perry. So that's why we like it so much, and that's why we push it, because we way rather have a high sales tax versus a high utility rate.
And if we go for the early renewal of the sales tax and then go to the people and they vote it down, is there a certain amount of time you have to wait before you present it again?
6 months.
6 months.
And that actually happened with the original street sales tax here in 2006, maybe. The first question was run, and then, you know, just after the first one had just failed, and then when we started here, that was when the second vote of that piece happened related to the street. And that was where they painted the stars on the streets, and I mean, the big campaign actually went out. So, guys, passing the sales tax isn't something that you just take for granted. I mean, you don't think that, oh, I just go float this and we're gonna get a 50.1% vote and we're gonna go on down the road. You know, I mean, it's not what usually happens. You know, I mean, we have to make sure we're thoughtful in it. We have to make sure that we communicate it, that we show, you know, exactly what happened with that. You know, I think the dollars that are being invested in the streets and the projects, you know, I mean, we not only the projects that were completed with the initial street sales tax money, you know, in year 1, 2, and 2.5, I guess, from this last issue, but also now, even today, you know, what we're still using, you know, some of those for to make sure that streets are getting done and repaired and updated. And, you know, it's a great testament to, hey, we are dedicated to the infrastructure of the city. It's key to long-term development here. is what does our electric, our water, our sewer, and our streets look like? Because without those things, you know, we don't have the growth capacity. Another one of our discussions today, but you know, it all drives where we are and where we come from.
So there wouldn't be an issue with going ahead and figuring out what we want to do with extending those now, and then they don't expire, they just switch to whatever we decide to put them to.
But is the current one restricted?
The street is currently restricted, yes, and the 1 1/4 water is currently restricted.
Everything but 1 penny.
Everything but 1 penny is restricted. Hospital, streets, and water.
And we had one other one fail since then, and that was when we tried to get a penny to reduce, and the handoff was we were gonna have a free penny
Yep.
and reduce the utility rates.
Mhm.
That one,
You remember that one was going to the general fund
yeah, that one marginally.
and didn't have a specific purpose, so,
I think that's tough.
you know, you need to be cautious of that.
And
When you extend a sales tax, like we extended the street one, can we amend as well to say like streets and
Yes.
water
Yes.
or something
You
like
can
that?
change the purpose, extension,
Mhm.
absolutely.
But you can only change the purpose prior to voting on
If
it.
it's restricted.
Absolutely. It needs to be in the ordinance, and the ordinance and proposition need to be approved 75 days before it's submitted to the election board secretary. The issue now is, at least in this year, that they've only set 5 election dates, and I believe 2 or 3 of them. Well, the third one is occurring on June 16th. There's only 2 more elections. Normally you can have, there's like 8 or 9 possible elections, but they limited those elections. And just to add, your neighbor Blackwell, that city council will be voting on Thursday to extend a 1.5 cent capital improvement sales tax, which doesn't end for 4.5 years, for another 11.5 years. So they're going to be voting to submit that to the public on June 16th on Thursday, and that would extend that sales tax. It's got 4.5 more years to run. It extends it another 11.5 years, or a total 15-year term for a water project, and that will prevent any rates from going up associated with that debt that they're hoping to issue. So yes, you can do it years in advance.
So maybe that's some of in our budget workshops from here, this year, next year, include some of those conversations.
In my mind, the only thing about waiting is we've got 2 summers to go like mad to fix as many streets as we can to prove that that money's being spent.
Yeah.
And if we wanted to broaden it any or anything like that, we need to show that
Show that we've accomplished something with the money that was,
Yeah.
because those initial streets that were fixed, those are long out of people's memories.
Right.
It's all gonna be about what we're fixing now. And to show that, yeah, we've fixed this small bit, but we need more money to do the rest.
Right.
That would free up some money from other things to go buy things, but it almost feels like we could spend that much on streets every year for a long time.
Well, one of the things to remember is doing it in-house is saving us
Well,
significant amounts of, you know, I mean, the number of blocks that we would be able to do
Right.
within the same money is a total different ballgame
Right.
than whenever we were contracting out, you know. And there are things that, there will be streets that need to be 100% rebuilt, you know, I mean, taken all the way down and not just milled and resurfaced, you know, and so that assessment, going through those things and kind of looking at, you know, and putting that on a game plan timeline, you know. We're, one of the things that we talked about, you know, I mean, whenever we passed the original one, and whenever we even did the last one, was, you know, we're gonna do a whole lot of stuff in the first 2.5, 3 years. And then it's gonna sit here for 7, and we're gonna come back and say, hey, we need to do it again. And that's where the hard time comes, is that 6 or 7 years that, you know, I mean, we did we used the majority of that money. We did a great thing. We got stuff done. But it's way back there in hindsight now, you know. Matter of fact, looking around the council at this point, you know, Derek was here, you know, and that's kind of it, you know. So there's something to be said for, you know, now our ability to go out and do those things is a little different, you know. We can do more blocks, we can cover more area, and we can use what we have.
Some of those streets that we did in the last one already need work. And by pulling it in-house, we're gonna be able to maintain some of these things that we haven't been able to do in the past. Hold on there.
Well, I far exceeded my 3 minutes that Nate had allocated me whenever he gave me my time budget for tonight, so.
Yes, you did.
Are there? I missed you guys. I needed to talk a little bit tonight, all right? I've been talking way too many taxes and I wanted to talk municipal finance. I'd much rather do this than go back and do another tax return.
All right, any other questions for Russ? Perfect, I'm sure there'll be more discussion later on. Questions, things come up. Let's go ahead and go on to item number 7, our city manager update. 3 minutes, go.
Thanks, Russ. I think those are some really important topics. I put on the budget sessions to bring them up again. So I have a few updates. The first was reminded earlier that I spoke last week to the Perry Study Club, the Women's Study Club. Really a wonderful, wonderful experience to talk to them. They're a bunch of very bright women, had a lot of really great questions focused on the strategic plan and the goals that we have, the goals that we've accomplished, and what we're going to do in the next 12 months. So it's a very good discussion with them. I appreciate the invite. So additionally, some other general information, E911 budget and agreement. The budget was not formally approved today in the commissioners meeting, but talked about and said they were all good with it. The only reason it wasn't formally adopted is because the agreement has to go hand in hand with it, and we're still working on that. But that budget has been the biggest holdup. So really some great progress there. I expect next meeting to be bringing an agreement to you for approval. So other general piece of information, we did our auction at the Armory for the hospital industrial kitchen equipment. Brian Thomas was our auctioneer, which was a lot of fun to see him do that. And it brought in not a whole lot of money, $2,884, which is probably about what we expected. There weren't a ton of items. There were a couple of higher dollar items. Actually, the city of Yale bought most of our things. So, but we did get some out to the community as well here who bid and won some bids. So it was fun. It was a fun time. And most importantly for us, we got rid of all that stuff. So project updates. Airport project is going well. Talked to the airport manager today. He didn't have any concerns. Seems like everything's running smoothly. PD remodel is also going very well. They are anticipating finishing in the middle of April is the goal. So once we do that, we'll invite council to come back over and take a look at that, because you all saw it when it was demoed before. So main kill-out project, they haven't begun yet because they had a couple of holdups, as are common in large projects like this, but anticipate starting later this week. So excited there. We're communicating, trying to communicate overly more than expected with residents on Facebook and via mailers and door hangers and things like that. So hoping to get the word out to those and kind of in the pathway of that project, so that they know what to expect, and that they'll keep us informed of any longer term shutoffs, because they shouldn't lose water for more than 4 hours. So if it's off for more than 4 hours, let us know. Sledge box project that is ready to go out to bid. Cimarron Valley Engineering has several other projects that are out to bid right now, and they're trying to stagger them. So we'll see that in the next couple of weeks go out to bid. And then the last one I wanted to update people on is we've had some questions about the storm sirens. So we have 2 storm sirens in the city that are not working. Terrence and Ben have been working really hard on that, getting that squared away, and I think today we finally found a solution. So the long-term plan is our storm sirens are extremely outdated. We need at least six new ones to cover the current territory that is being covered. Those storm sirens run about $30,000 a piece. And there is a FEMA grant that we're going to apply for that will pay, I think, 80% of that. But that's not until August. And so we're concerned, well, we don't want to just leave these sirens out of commission during storm season, right? And so,
There's 2 that are out,
2 that are out.
so we have 4.
What?
So we have 4 working?
No, we have, I think we have 8 or 9 right now.
Oh, okay.
But we would have 6 replace them because with newer technology, they have a wider range.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, great question. So the 2 that are not working, one of them has just a communication issue. So that one they quoted us $3,000 to fix. I found the money in the budget and I approved that quote today. And then additionally, we have the one in Fairway Edition is just bad. There's no fixing it. The parts are too old. We've even looked on like Facebook Marketplace and some other secondhand auction sites, but it's too old. We can't find the pieces for it. So the plan is to rent one until we can see if we get the grant. And so to rent them, it's $350 a month, which doesn't make sense, obviously, long-term, but short-term would, so we're not paying $30,000 up front. So that's kind of the plan we have in place. I know a few residents have asked about that, and we are actively working on it, and we hope to have those rectified very soon.
So would it be a rent-to-own agreement if we did buy them in, would some of the rent be applied?
No, they don't do the rent-to-owns, unfortunately, but I don't know, I'm thinking of something else. Yeah, they don't do rent-to-own, but it would be the same company that installed the new ones. So,
Well, they definitely fulfill a wonderful purpose. My wife and I were driving down Highway 75 north of Tulsa last week when the tornado hit there. And what finally convinced me to pull over was I could hear the sirens through the windows in my vehicle. And when we finally pulled off, we pulled off at a Phillips 66. We were only 6 blocks away from the school that the tornado hit.
Oh,
So
wow.
if those sirens wouldn't have been there and that loud, you know, as Randy Man drove right into it.
yeah, they're super important, and we realize with storm season approaching, we can't afford to wait. You know?
And have we changed the way we test them? It seemed like it used to be Fridays for just a couple of minutes. Now they run for a lot, it just drives
They
my
run for a
dogs
while.
crazy. But
I feel like it's a solid 5
Randy
minutes.
does
It's
feel
pretty
you're
long
tired
sometimes.
now, you know
it
that.
just, those minutes seem longer now. That could be.
You're home, you hear.
Yeah.
You hear your dogs.
Seems like last Friday I timed it and it was only a minute. I may be
It's
wrong,
pretty
but
quick.
it
I don't
seemed
know.
like
Yeah,
it
this
was-
past Friday it was shorter than what it has been.
There's been sometimes where it was longer.
Because when I'm out in the shop, oh my gosh, it's so loud.
Mechanical, they probably would.
We appreciate it.
Yeah,
There was
absolutely.
some guy over there.
Yeah.
That's
Those
for
are
his dementia, he just forgot.
those are the only updates I have, unless there's any other questions from council regarding specific projects or items. All right. Thank you.
Let's go into our other business. We've got item number 8, discuss the Paint Perry program and recognize allocation of $2,000 from the code department towards this program.
Yeah, so this is something we discussed a couple of meetings ago in our during the strategic plan portion, and I think we finally found a way to implement this, and we have the means to implement it in terms of staff right now, and we're excited about this. So there's a couple of attachments there. Let me go down to them so I can do them in order. Let's see. Other business. All right, that's not. All right, so down on page, let's see, in this
23?
23, yep, in the PDF. So it talks a little bit about the program purpose, obviously to improve the appearance of Perry, particularly on the artery streets where people are coming into town and seeing the homes more often. But I think we're open to, anything. Those would just be probably prioritized if the program's very popular. And so we talk a little bit about the reimbursements. We would do up to $500 per property for eligible exterior painting project. It would only be issued after the project's complete, so there would be before and after photographs, receipts for the materials, and then we would also have our code enforcement go out and take a look at it. So, and they'll really be the ones kind of implementing the project, because oftentimes people don't know that programs like this exist, and so they'll be actively talking to people and letting them know, when they're finding issues with homes or lawns or things like that, they'll let them know, hey, we have this program that we just began. And the goal would be to allocate $2,000 for that. We have room in their code budget this year for that because of some staff turnover that we saw earlier in the year. And we'd recommend allocating that, trying the program out, and then if it's successful, we can expand on that. So it has kind of eligible expenses there as well, which talk about exterior paint, primer, caulking, and minor preparation materials, and then even like equipment rental related to painting. Labor costs would not be eligible for reimbursement just because of how that's set. You can hire your son-in-law and say, yeah, he's gonna charge $500 an hour. But I will say that I've had several groups like the study club and others reach out to me and say, hey, if you ever do things like this, we would love to volunteer. And so there are a lot of volunteer options. I know the scout troops are always looking for volunteer opportunities as well. So kind of the process is submit the application, and then, there's a cutout there.
We skipped right at it.
Yeah.
Step 2.
Yeah, step 2 got cut out for some reason, but you submit the application, and like I said, our code department will be kind of over that and encouraging that. And then within 30 days of completing the project, you would take pictures and seek reimbursement. And then, like I said, they'll go out, they'll do a visual inspection, and then we'll cut a check. So pretty simple and straightforward.
Under eligible expenses on that labor part,
Yeah.
you said all labor must be completed by homeowner or volunteer.
Yeah.
They can pay for it to be done, it just won't be reimbursed.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly. Good clarification there.
So the up to 508, is that as a percentage of what the entire project cost, or?
Yeah, I would let our code department kind of speak to that. They're the ones who kind of did the research, and I asked them, I don't know how much, I've never painted my house, and so I don't know how much it costs, and I said, can you get an idea of what someone could do for $500? And they kind of arrived at a number and said this would be a decent amount for many of the homes and the sizes in Perry that we're seeing.
Cost me a lot more than that when I painted my house.
You know, but it's still $500 towards whatever that.
Right, towards the materials.
So that's why I guess I was wondering, are we gonna pay for 10% of the total cost up to 500? That way if the total cost was only 500, we wouldn't pay
The 500.
the 500.
No, yeah, it's there's no limit on it right now. We could certainly put one, but the idea would just be 500. So if you had a very small home or just needed a section of it painted, which a lot of times they do, it's not the full front, it's just maybe the
Right.
triangular section up top or the wood across or things like that. We'll give up to $500 to do it.
Okay. And we'd reevaluate this in a year to see how it goes.
Yeah, I'll even just keep you posted as this goes. I had another update tonight on actually the downtown grant. I'll report on it next time because I can't do it now, but I like to keep you in the loop on these things we're implementing so that you know how well they're working. And so I'll let you know how it goes. You won't have to wait a year.
All right, any other questions on that, council? All right, we look forward to that update. Item number 9, we're gonna forego because we have to wait on that one, right? To approve the 911 budget.
Yeah, that's correct. I gave the update on that,
Mhm.
and I'll have something next meeting.
Okay. So we'll jump into our resolutions and ordinances. And before we do, I do want to thank Nate and Bryce for getting those to us early. So they sent out these ordinances a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So we've had plenty of time to read it over, look at it, ask questions. I think if we start doing this from now on, that'll really help streamline our meetings. And you know, one of the things that we've been asking for as a council is getting those things in front of us so that we have time to really look at them. And so, council, as we go through these, you know, if you have any questions that you haven't had the opportunity to have answered in the last 2 weeks, go ahead. But I hope that you've had time to be able to talk to Nate and Bryce or Russ about these and get your questions answered prior to the meeting. So, item number 10. Consider approval of ordinance number 2026-03 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, amending Chapter 5, Article 1 of the Perry Municipal Code 2022 by the addition of Section 5-115 entitled Construction and Trade Work, Recognition of State Law Exemptions, Permit and Affidavit Requirements, recognizing and adopting state law exemptions to contractor licensure and registration for construction, plumbing, electrical, and mechanical work, requiring permits and inspections, providing affidavit requirements where work is performed by a property owner, or with respect to mechanical work, an authorized representative, providing limitations, providing for repealer, savings, codification, severability, penalty, and declaring an emergency.
So I'll let Bryce talk to these ones. It's something that he's been working on for a while, and my staff has gone through and taken a look at and approved as well. I'll let him give a little more background.
Yeah, I'm going to defer to David for a second. He came today. But then I want to run you through the ordinance.
All right, who do you want to send it to?
Hot potato.
Yeah.
Well, this is an effort to align our local enforcement practices with the state law. It's not really changing anything, but, well, it does too. It changes how we do our job in the enforcement of these laws. Over the years, there's been some misunderstanding of state law, and it's not real simple. Bryce did a really good job of digging the meat out of it and putting that in this ordinance. And it took a considerable study to simplify it to where everyone can understand. Where we hope to make a brochure that we could hand out to people and make it clear not only to them but to us, so that we're all working to the same goal. This clarifies what a homeowner or a property owner is allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do under state law. We've found that some of the things that we believed and have been enforcing really didn't align with state law. So this gives a little more freedom to what people can do, and I like it. I'm all for less government, and this leans strongly in that direction of less government. So I think our property owners will like this, and we hope to make a simple brochure that we can hand out to people and make our jobs easier in enforcing and giving guidance to the projects that are being done. So that's it in a nutshell. Do you have any questions?
Can you give an example of what what we've done in the past.
Can I run you through
Okay.
what this is, and then we'll take questions if we could? Because I had the opportunity to with Derek today. He stopped by, and I think it was real helpful. If you turn to tab 10, you know, this is set up in several sections. A is purpose and intent. B is general construction. We have a residential building contractor's registration. If you're in the business of constructing residential buildings, you have to apply and get that registration. Okay? And if you're not in the business, you're just a person, okay, you can construct, you can be in the business of building houses on your own property, your own personal property, your own residence. You can build an addition, you can frame it, you can work on construction, you can do construction. Now, if you're in the business, then you've got to comply with the residential buildings construction. So if you take the first thing, construction, what can you do? You can construct on your own property if you own it. Okay, so that's rule number 1. Turn the page, rule number 2. Now we're going to deal with plumbing. C1, if you don't need a license and you don't need to be registered as a plumber, and you don't need a permit to do A, B, or C. You know, replace faucets, work on an automatic irrigation sprinkler system, install backflow preventers, and the like. You don't need a permit, and you don't need a license, you don't need to be registered. Okay, well, go to, that's 1, A, B, and C. Go to 2. For plumbing, it must be the individual's property of residence. Not property that you own. It's your property of residence. And if it's your property of residence, you can perform plumbing work that would otherwise have to be done with somebody that had a license or a registration as a plumber on your property of residence. Now, you have to get a permit, you have to do inspections. Okay, so that is the rule with respect, I'm going to come back to affidavit later, okay? But that's the rule with plumbing. So now turn the page and we'll go to electrical. Electrical, exempt any person. You don't have to have a license, you don't have to have city registration, you don't have to have requirements to obtain a permit for minor repairs such as replacing outlets or minor working parts of electric fixtures, installation or repair of water supply pumps from an outlet size of fuse, disconnector, or breaker. Now, those are without a permit, license, or registration. Now, under electric, it's broader than plumbing. You can do plumbing work on your residence or on property that you own. Any plumbing work. Plumbing work that requires a permit, that requires inspection. You can do plumbing work on your residence that's not minor or on property that you own. And so that's the rule there in plumbing work. I mean the full scale of whatever a plumber could do. Now, remember, you got to get permits, got to be inspected, and it has to be done in accordance with the code. So you better know what you're doing. And understand what we're doing is we're allowing people the freedom under this law.
It's electrical.
Electrical on that part.
Excuse me, electrical. We're allowing them freedom to do this work, but it still has to be done in accordance with the code, and it has to be done with permit inspection. So now, what's at the bottom? Mechanical.
Sounds dangerous.
Now, mechanical is the one that's different. Okay? You can do minor repairs as a property owner. A property owner of record. But now it goes even broader than that. Or his or her authorized representative. That means someone other than the property owner. That's the only time that you see that exception. Can do minor repair. They're not required to have a license. And these are the types of things that they can do, and those are set out: replace fuses, room thermostats, minor repairs not affecting the safe operation. Then we list here additional exempt work, and then work requiring licensure and registration. And mechanical is different. I mean, if there's a question, you need to speak to, the folks in code about whether you can or you cannot. You still have to get a permit inspection. Now, in each one of these instances, I've attached a copy of an affidavit. And that is, if you're going to do this kind of work, this ordinance requires you to sign an affidavit and to tell us why. Why do we want to know that? Well, you may eventually sell that home and someone may want to know and who did it, and this one's an affidavit, this one was done by the property owner that certified, but here are the permits and the inspections and the like. But it provides them more information. Actually provides them more information, maybe they get a little bit more in depth than just their home inspection. But it also allows the folks in code to know who is on the property when they go out to the property. So it's that. Now, so the ordinance, we talked about it, it could be a brochure, it could just be in a brochure, but we've added this affidavit piece, and we've also added pieces which allow it to come under this ordinance rather than state law, because state law says generally, if you adopt our code, there may not be any deviations that are permitted by ordinance. Now, all the deviations that we wrote are permitted under this state law, but they may not be permitted specifically under that international code or that national electric code. Okay? And by saying it this way and jiving it with the exemptions in the state law, we're allowing. So we are giving the homeowner and the property owner, and we're telling them in writing the things that they can do on their property, and in some cases only on their residence, and in some cases with respect to mechanical, with even an authorized representative. This didn't come from Tulsa, this didn't come from Norman, this was generated by me out of that law, and I don't know that it really exists, really anywhere else. I mean, it may, I don't know, but when you Google it, it doesn't pop, something to copy up. But Perry has been talking about this for, I'd say, more than a decade. City councils have been, what exactly can folks do? Because we do have folks here that work on their own homes and all, and we wanted to make sure that we had a rule here that code was comfortable with and that management was comfortable with, and that we could give to the public and give them the maximum amount of freedom, and yet still provide that we would keep some tabs on it, and of course require it to be in accordance with the code and permitted and inspected. So
I found emails between the two of us that were just over 10 years old where we had been working on this that long ago.
yeah, so why did it take so long? Maybe the question. And it really was just, we get more and more questions on this, and we finally set aside the time and devoted it to this. So,
And kind of one of the bottom line things in all this is there's a final inspection on all of this, no matter who does it. You can have all the certification in the world, but when you get a permit, there's a required inspection. So the same inspector looks at it in either case. The final sign-off is by the same person. So we're not circumventing any inspections or being up to code. It's more a clarification on how we get there. I like it.
But that final inspection doesn't certify that it's done properly.
No, but being done by
Right.
a registered individual doesn't
No, no, I agree. That's one big thing that doesn't mean that it's the city's fault if something comes back later.
Right, yeah.
And just to make everybody comfortable, the Governmental Tort Claims Act, and I've mentioned this before, has a whole series of defenses that protect the city and protect the city officers and protect the city employees with respect to permits, inspections, negligent or otherwise. So there's a lot of protection under the Governmental Tort Claims Act.
Many of you will know what a split system air conditioner is. The rules have not really been, well, they have not been written on that yet. We went to class recently and that question came up, what do you do with split systems? Well, there aren't any rules yet. So this specifically mentions split systems. So you can put one in yourself. Where in the past, we believed, and been told that you can't, that state code wouldn't allow it. Well, state code doesn't say that. So now it will be in our ordinance saying that that's one of the things you can do. Still requires, come in, tell us who you are, what you're gonna do, and someone will go out and make sure it was done as to code as it can be, but there's not a lot of codes on a split system. That's just one of the examples that this cleans up.
I think you hit on one of the other big portion of this is communication that comes afterwards, right? And making sure that us and the public understand what we're saying here as well, something on the website or a brochure type thing.
One of our goals for some time has been to have these little handout brochures at the front of City Hall, and when someone comes in and says, hey, I want to do such and so, I want to put a building in my backyard, what are the rules? Rather than scheduling a meeting with someone and going through the same thing, we hope to have these handy handouts that puts that in street language so that people get a really good understanding real simply what they can do and what they can't do, and then they can decide whether they want to go the next step.
That'd be a good tool to take to the real estate agents as well if they're selling a home. One of the things they can say, be like, hey, like in our city, like you can go see what work's been done on this house and who did it, and if this is a home that you're interested in.
Yeah, I
Good
love
resource.
this. I love the communication. I love the freedom it provides. It's needed. And thanks to staff for all the hard work you put into it.
You know, those things.
And
are
then,
very-
as you go through town, don't notice the houses that still need work, but look at how many houses are being worked on and cleaned up and painted and repaired and taken away. A lot of property has been cleaned up, and
Absolutely.
it's impressive if you start looking for those things.
All right, council, any other questions? All right. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
All right, let's have roll call.
Colby.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis. Yes. Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
O'Shea.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. So item 11, consider application of the emergency clause for ordinance number 2026-03.
So moved. Second.
There we go.
And Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis. Yes. Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
O'Shea.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Item 12, consider approval of ordinance number 2026-04 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, amending Chapter 12 of the Perry Municipal Code 2022 by the amendment of Section 12-321 entitled Closing of Public Ways or Easements by Ordinance, providing for a procedure which comports with the statutory provision in Title 11, OS Section 42-110, deleting the planning commission and its hearing from the procedure and making other miscellaneous amendments to streamline the procedure, providing for repealer, savings, codification, severability, and declaring an emergency.
This one's really straightforward. Planning Commission has been involved in Perry in closing, vacating right-of-ways, or easements, and they do not need to be according to state statute. We really shouldn't have them involved. There's no reason to do so. In order to make that process more efficient and more in line with state statute, we're recommending passing this ordinance to eliminate that.
Council, any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
All right, Coffee,
Yes.
Bledsoe,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Davis. Yes. Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
O'Shea.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Item 13, consider application of the emergency clause for ordinance number 2026-04.
So moved.
Second.
And Coffee,
Yes.
Bledsoe,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
O'Shea.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Item 14, consider approval of ordinance number 2026-05 of the City Council of the City of Perry, adopting a new Article 8 to Chapter 8 of the Perry Municipal Code 2022, adopting the Municipal Code Lien Enforcement Act, providing for Section 8-801 entitled Title, providing for Section 8-802 entitled Declaration of Purpose, providing for Section 8-803 entitled Definitions, providing for Section 8-804 entitled Applicability, providing for Section 8-805 entitled Authorization of Judicial in Rem Foreclosure, providing for Section 8-806 entitled Threshold for Foreclosure, providing for Section 8-807 entitled Procedure, providing for Section 8-808 entitled Exclusion of Owner-Occupied Property, providing for Section 8-809 entitled Notice and Support Services for Owner-Occupied Property, providing for Section 8-810 or 8-110 entitled Administrative Regulations, establishing procedures for judicial in rem foreclosure of municipal code liens, providing for repealer, savings, codification, severability, effective date, and declaring an emergency.
So I hate to do this one quickly because there's been a lot of work and a lot of time put into it over a long period of time, but I'm going to try to do it quickly because it is kind of a no-brainer for us. We've been working a long time about trying to obtain the properties on which we've put a lien after demolishing dilapidated property. This is the ordinance that allows us to be able to do that. So that's the basics of it, the 30,000 foot view. Bryce has worked really hard on it. Sharon has worked really hard on it. But it's so that we can obtain those properties and redevelop them.
And it's all within state law.
Yeah, if you did, the state passed the new law effective November 1st. If you want to avail yourself of that law, you have to adopt an ordinance, which, that's the enabling law. You have to adopt an ordinance which provides how to do it. Of course, this ordinance provides how you do it is exactly like the state law says that you do it, but it sets that out. The state law requires that, so there are a few requirements in it, but we think this is another tool in our toolkit to help with urban renewal, with cleaning up the town, and acquiring those properties in which we have large liens.
What's the process now? Currently?
Well, the process
Are we
right
able
now
to
is that
obtain
a lien is, let's talk about dilapidated homes, because that's where we spend, the most money. After you go through the opportunity for the person to come to a hearing, and you give them the notice that their property is dilapidated, you give them reasonable times to begin and to finish the work. And then you normally give them a period of time. If they're going to cooperate with you, give them a period of time to work that out. If they completely ignore you, which is the way that it normally occurs, then you send them a final notice, and then you either take bids or you can do it by yourself. If it's in-house, it's at cost, or you take bids. And you get the cost of that, and you send them that statement, and then you go tear it down. They have 6 months after you give them that statement to pay it. If they don't pay it, then you take that to the county treasurer, and the county treasurer collects that normally as a part of his procedure for foreclosing on properties for not paying county ad valorem taxes, which is a 3-year period. And sometimes they run in and pay, and maybe they pay it up, and maybe your lien sits there. But it's really in the hands of the treasurer. What this says is if you don't send it to the treasurer after that 6-month period, you can do it by yourself by filing a petition with the district court and foreclosing on that yourself. So that's how it is done. This provides us another tool. We don't have to wait on the county treasurer. They have lots of things to do. And of course, if they get paid, I mean, I've never talked to them about it, but if they get paid, they're somewhat satisfied, you know, and they'll work on something else where they're not getting paid. I have had county treasurers in Woods County hop out immediately and do a foreclosure on one of these that got certified. I mean, they did it within a few months. It's the only time, you know, in decades that I know that that did occur. But when they don't pay their county taxes, this goes along with it. Of course, we don't get to buy it. Someone else's, you know, someone else shows up, and we have 5,000 in it, and they owe the county 1,000, and they bid 1,000. The county will get paid first. We will not get it. Somebody will acquire it, and you know, our lien goes goodbye. Now, at the end of this, you don't get a personam lien against the person. Okay, and it can't be owner occupied, and you have to have at least $1,500 to start this process. It has to be at least that. But you can acquire the property, and if you do it in a strategic way where, you know, there's properties that need to be, you know, that are dilapidated, you can create areas within which you can probably have development. Now, quite frankly, before I would ever file one of these, if I could find the property owner, I would tell them what we're about to do and see if they didn't just want to deed the property over. But this starts the conversation because it's authorized by state law and now authorized by ordinance.
So Nate, you mentioned that it would be one that we maybe demolished, but it wouldn't have to be, correct? You just had to have an
At least
understand about
$1,500 in it.
$1,500.
On
It could be
grass
mowing and
work.
cleaning, you know,
Yep.
mowing and cleaning, absolutely. Any lien that arises from municipal code.
The most common is just dilapidated because that costs so much.
So can we vote on this twice and pass it twice?
We can vote on it fast and pass it quickly.
Yeah. That's what that emergency clause is for. Got that going, yeah.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
O'Shea.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. Item 15, consider application of emergency clause for ordinance number 2026-05.
So moved.
Second.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams. O'Shea.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. Item 16, consider approval of ordinance number 2026-06 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, amending the Perry Municipal Code 2022 by the amendment and restatement of Article 12 entitled Regulating the Use of Tobacco Products and/or Vapor Products and/or Marijuana Products on Municipal Property and Indoor and Outdoor Areas and Other Prohibited Conduct, providing for an amendment to Section 26-103 entitled Prohibition of Tobacco Products and Marijuana Products and Vapor Products on City-Owned and Operated Properties within the corporate limits of the City of Perry by the prohibition of all forms of tobacco and/or marijuana products in the city-owned vehicles, providing for an amendment to section 26-104 entitled Posting, requiring the posting of certain signage, providing for a tobacco-free environment, providing for a new section 5, providing for special provisions relating to statutory construction and severability, providing for the balance of the article for ease in review and consideration, making amendments to apply for TSET Gold status and qualify for grants and to regulate the use of tobacco, vapor, and marijuana products in city buildings, city-owned real property, and city vehicles, repealer, savings, codification, statutory construction, and severability, penalty, and declaring an emergency.
Yeah, so this is something we've tried before. TSET is a grant we get annually for tobacco education and prohibitions and things like that. And we've tried to go from silver to gold before and have always struck out. They've always required one more thing. And this is Bryce's attempt, which I think is finally going to get us there, to get more money from that TSET program in order to improve our parks. So again, just like the last one, it's really a no-brainer for us, although there was a lot of time spent to making it right. So thanks.
Derek did suggest today in our meeting a change, which was brilliant on his part and is necessary. If you would turn to tab 16, page 3, and so this is that first ordinance. We're talking about F 10-1203F. The provision says the possession of lighted tobacco or lighted marijuana products in any form, the smoking or vaping tobacco or smoking of vaping marijuana, or the possession or use. I want to take out the words possession because it's not against the law to have some chew, in your pocket. Just like it's not against the law to have fireworks in your car, you just can't discharge them. So, or the use of any and all tobacco products, and then I want to repeat that, or the possession or use of marijuana products. So it's proper to have both with respect to marijuana, and not proper to have it with respect to the other one. As you can tell, most of this ordinance we already have. There's just a few changes. The police department enforced this. Really, they wanted in the cars, any type of tobacco product not permitted to be used, and the signage. Other than that, and for another community, I did this. TSET set a chart with a bunch of checkoffs. I actually copied your ordinance for them. And it made silver. It didn't make gold. They sent it back to them. If you do these things, you can get gold. So now we're coming back with those changes for you to improve your ordinance. Filing for these grants is March 31st. So if we get this thing passed and published and file for a grant, we may have that opportunity.
I think one of the exciting things to me is that this makes us in a better position to apply for those grants that could help some of the projects that we want to take on at CCC Lake or in our other parks. This would give Melanie a little bit more to go after those grants and make us more able to do so. But yeah, I think it's a good deal. So if we make that motion, we would make it with the changes that
Derek's brilliant changes.
Derek
Yeah.
amendment.
Well, I would move that we approve this with the Derek amendment.
Second.
That's how I wrote it too.
On the signage, can we put brought to you by Derek?
He'd appreciate that.
Just in possession, put an X. Coffee,
Yeah.
Bledsoe,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
O'Shea,
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. Item 17, consider application of emergency clause to ordinance number 2026-06.
So moved.
Second.
And Coffee,
Yes.
Bledsoe,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
O'Shea,
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. All right, item 18, so this goes along with item 16. Consider approval of ordinance number 2026-07 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, amending the Perry Municipal Code 2022 by the amendment and restatement of Article 10 entitled Prevention of Youth Access to Tobacco and Vapor Products and Other Tobacco Regulations, providing for the amendment of Section 10-1001 entitled Definitions, adding the definition of nicotine product, providing for the amendment of Sections 10-1002, 10-1003, 10-1004 by providing coordination with the ABLE Commission when considering a second or subsequent violation, providing for the balance of the article for ease and review and consideration, making the amendments to apply for TSET Gold status and qualify for grants, and to reuse or reduce the use of tobacco, vapor, and nicotine products by minors, repealer, savings, codification, severability, penalty, and declaring an emergency.
This one's even simpler. It defines nicotine product, and it provides some language that says when you're going to prosecute a youth under this action, you need to consult with ABLE for second and subsequent violations. Normally, tobacco and alcohol are often the same. They want to know about it, and so that's really the only changes. And we put that second part in several sections.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And Coffee,
Yes.
Bledsoe,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
O'Shea,
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. Item 19, consider application of emergency clause to ordinance number 2026-07.
So moved.
Second.
And Coffee,
Yes.
Bledsoe,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Goldar,
Yes.
Rupp,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
O'Shea,
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. All right, so moving into our strategic plan update. Item number 20, discuss strategic plan. The council will focus on this meeting or initiatives to improve infrastructure. Well, actually, we're talking about quality of life.
Yeah,
This
so
time
that's a
around.
mistake.
So with that, let's go ahead and jump into it. Nate, you've got some stuff for us?
I do, yeah. So if you'll go down to page 67 in the packet, that has our current strategic plan admin goals, which had several goals that we've already accomplished and a couple that we haven't or are in process. And so if you look, quality of life is we will improve the quality of life and economic development opportunities in Perry. Revitalizing the downtown is a piece of that. So prepare a master revitalization plan, which has been done in terms of the inside square. We implemented rules and guidelines for the HP district. That has been done, and we've made that district. So the next one is encourage businesses to fill buildings around the square. Marketing and incentive plan. So I'll let everyone know today was the first day we actually awarded $5,000 for our incentive plan for a business on the square. We've had 2 applicants to that program. The first was not very serious, didn't answer any follow-up questions I sent them. But the second one is for Brother Bell's Barbecue. And the city, through Russ and I, approved that grant today to help him with his building and get his business open. I think there's a lot of awesome things happening in the downtown. If you look at some of the buildings being renovated right now, I can think of 3 just off the top of my head, which are being renovated and fixing to open within the next week to 6 months, depending on when you're talking about. So we have a lot of great things going on there.
With those incentives, like what, for those that are watching, what can they use that program that we set up for?
Yeah, really good question. So the main thing that we look at is we want you to put it towards the building, right? And so, and the idea behind that is because businesses fail, and that's part of life, and we get that. And if it fails and you leave, we want the building to still be improved, right? And so you can use it for flooring, you can use it for Really, any kind of improvements within the building space is what we're looking at. And then in conjunction with that, Main Street has a facade grant to help with the front of the building. They also have some equipment grants to help with some of that inside stuff. We don't really want to be involved in the equipment side because we don't want anything that you can take with you when you leave.
Is that grant only for new incoming businesses or for current businesses as well?
It could be for either, but they have to be able to justify, I mean, we're treating this as a business. And so we're looking and saying, okay, what additional revenues are gonna come to the city because of this? And so we looked at utility revenues, we looked at sales tax revenues, we looked at the sales tax on the initial investment in terms of the supplies and stuff. And then we're also looking at, well, is it creating jobs? Is it improving quality of life for the downtown? Which are things that, especially the quality of life aspect, isn't necessarily monetary, but is important. And so to answer your question, I think it could be either, but you have to be able to justify your position in those lenses, through those lenses.
Nice.
Any other questions on the business or downtown improvement grant? So the overpass was the next piece of that. Obtain ODOT approval, we did that. We applied for the RAISE grant last year, applied for the BUILD grant this year, and are waiting to hear back on that. So that's in process. And then E is the quiet zone, which we've done some research on, but have not made active progress on it. Really, it's just a time thing. It's very time intensive. And then, let's see, provide activities and businesses for the people of Perry. So we implemented the annual airport event in fall of 2025. The Planes and Cars event, which had over 1,000 people attend. We plan on doing that year after year and are excited for this year coming up. So those are kind of the goals that we had and we're working towards. As you can see, some of them are crossed off, others still in progress. But some additional questions to consider to kind of get the ideas flowing. When someone moves to Perry or visits Perry, what are things that they should experience that make them say, this is a great place to live? What are we missing today to make that happen? And maybe we open that one up there.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question to think about. So if someone moves to Perry or is considering moving to Perry or they visit Perry, what do we think are some of the things that they should experience that make them say, this would be a great place to live? Or I'd want to relocate here? And what kind of things are we missing in that?
Grocery store, a second grocery store.
Yeah.
You know, when I think about the things that are kind of checked off on my list or on my list, a lot of them we're already working on. You know, walkability to a vibrant downtown.
Right.
We've
Yeah.
got
Yes.
grants to help the downtown. We've got grants to put in sidewalks. I mean, the streets, I mean, those are the kinds of things that bring people to Perry. The one thing that I would, you know, if you're gonna buy a house near one of our parks, it would sure be nice if the train whistle didn't blow you out of your house. So I think the quiet zone is one of those that needs to be up there. I mean, our town is completely surrounded and crisscrossed by trains, and living right next to one is difficult.
Yeah.
Oh, you get used to it.
But
You really do.
but if
I don't
you're-
do it at all.
If you're a new person moving to town, that's not gonna be something you wanna go
Right,
grab.
Yeah.
right.
Even talking to me from this is where I'm talking as a hotelier. One of the number one complaints I get at the hotel is the trains.
Yeah.
And of course, it's something that's out of my control as a business owner.
Yeah.
You know, I can't go out there and be like, shh, you know, quiet down, train.
It's your
But
fault.
yeah, one of the biggest complaints that we get is the trains, or people that are trying to sleep, because the trains are going nonstop all night.
And when you think about every road they cross, they have to. blow
Right,
the
they
whistle.
got it.
I mean, that,
Yeah,
And I live right next to one, and I don't even hear them
right.
anymore.
Anymore.
I'll be talking on the phone with someone, they're like, is that a train? I'm like,
Yes.
yes, it is.
Yeah. I've noticed even like when I've had meetings or with, with YMCA or with other organizations and we've met at the malls on Blacksmith Building. And you have people from outside of Perry that are coming to visit and you're having that meeting with people coming in, and then you've got trains blaring through in the middle of your meeting, they kind of have to stop and they kind of jump and look around.
Well, and that's one of the
For a
things that's
second.
actually close enough that when they're blowing the whistle, you can't talk.
Right, yeah. And so even talking about our downtown, the trains do affect, the businesses downtown, even though we get used to it, visitors might not be.
Right.
You do have the data packet that Elliot put together, right?
Yeah, years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I do. And I've even reached out to the organizations that walk you through this and approve it, and that's how I know there's still a whole lot more work that needs to be done. It's really just it needs to be a priority for me in order to move forward on it. I think
Or even
you guys
finding a
probably
group
need
to
to give
do a
me a
lot of that
date.
legwork.
But
Finding a group to do a lot of that legwork.
yeah, that would be work too. I mean,
Yeah.
happy to have someone else do the work for me.
And then I think the last thing I think about is that vibrant and exciting CC Lake, which we've got people working on that as well. I mean, we're not done with any of this,
Right.
but, those are all things that would bring people to Perry.
Yeah. Even,
That's day trip stuff.
Yeah.
And also understanding that, it's a strategic plan. So I feel like what I saw when I first came on council was a pretty ambitious timeline.
Yeah.
And so I think it's okay to spend time on projects and listening to people. And the other, I was kind of thumbing through at the ideas you all had, and you've got a great team, but you don't have a ton of people. So when you're doing, I think the city being a convener or a partner and bringing groups together who are already doing this work is really a good role. And then focusing on the stuff that we still need to get done. But it's good, the stuff that you all that we're doing already. But I think the beautification, what I hear all the time is the square.
Yeah.
So continuing on that. You
Well,
got
I appreciate that. I think a lot of times we drive and we drive and we drive and we push and we push, and I think that's great because we get a lot done, but recognizing that there's so much going on and, the city staff is doing an amazing job
Yeah.
with all the stuff they are doing.
Right. And as a council, we need to remember that too.
Mhm.
So there's that second question there, which I think is really good too, and can kind of change focus. If we had $50,000 to spend on quality of life improvements this year, what would residents want to see? So now you're not talking 5 million that you could do something crazy, but
Right.
50,000 just
Mhm.
an okay amount to put towards something. What would you want to see?
How much was that overpass?
Much more than that. That didn't even
A
cover
little bit more than that, just a little.
That's a 75-year project.
Can get close to engineering. I threw some ideas down, but I also thought it'd be interesting if we could come up with like 5 ideas that were executable,
Mhm.
that we, or that we could actually do.
Like in the next year or next?
With it, within the scenario of the question, yeah. So if we had 50,000 within the next year,
Mhm.
and if we could actually do that, it'd be nice to come up with some, like 5 ideas and then
Right.
put it out to the community via our app
Yeah.
to vote on or something. And let the community choose which one, to your point of what do we think the community would want, don't choose.
Mhm.
I love that idea. And so in our annual survey, which is about to go out for the second time, which I'm excited about because then we'll actually have a comparable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But last year we put, you may remember, a list of things. There was a beach at Perry Lake, there was a walking trail, I don't remember everything else on there, but I'll have to go back and look at what was the most popular, and it might be good to add some stuff, this year. So,
Do you think people who have lived in Perry a long time or grew up in Perry value CC Lake? Like other people I know come to town like, oh, what a great
Mhm.
area.
Yeah.
Yet sometimes it's like, oh yeah, like it's always been there. And not recognizing that, that's a pretty cool spot.
Mhm.
I think it's one of the coolest things that
Yeah, I agree.
It is, yeah.
pretty awesome. I mean, there's a lot of cool things in my thing, but that's,
I think it just needs to be shinier.
Mhm.
I mean, it's
The
like,
roads need to be done.
it's one of those places that you kind of look at it from 10,000 feet, it really looks cool. But when you get down to it, it needs work.
things to
They've
drive
done-
people, I mean, like we
yeah.
talked about the Christmas lights, that get
Mhm.
people to go, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to forget about it
Right.
because there's nothing happening there.
There would be music and food trucks and just
Mhm.
the cool stuff out there. Our downtown is cool, but it's not the only cool thing.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's, I mean, if you're gonna get people to come here for a day trip or an overnight trip, you need more than one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was, what was that for? A few years ago, there was a car show out there.
Oh,
And that was neat because it lined the drive and you could just drive
It
through.
was a
and-
first responders recognition or something.
Yeah.
Was that what it was?
So the Walnut Department no longer does the trout fishing out there? That got
No.
dropped?
Yeah, they don't stock the trout anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were too big.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
It
bummer.
was getting to be too costly.
Well, when I had talked to the wildlife, that area was the largest spot that they were,
Physically big.
yes, that they were stocking. It was costing quite a bit to stock it each month. They said that with the cost of trout, it was gonna cost them twice of what it, almost twice, 3 times as much to stock it from then on.
And do you remember the amount? It was insane. I
It was
remember my amount
insane. I
dropped
wanna
'cause
say like
couldn't believe it.
50. I mean, it was,
Yeah, it was like
it was an
50.
absolute amazing.
There goes our 50,000.
Put it on the list.
Yeah.
But they
It was
also,
like every time they dropped.
yeah,
It was like, what?
but they said, but they also wanted the lake to be really low.
Oh.
Basically, they wanted them in a swimming pool and
Mhm.
catch your 3. And they said, we don't think you're getting enough. Well, raise the amount they can take out of there. That's what I suggested to them, and they said, no, they wouldn't do that, but yeah, it was a bummer. We still have people coming into City Hall asking if we still have the trout thing, so.
But that trail does need, the trail needs some work, the roads need some work. I mean, with 50,000, you could accomplish quite a bit out there.
Mhm.
Not, on the scale you're talking about with the lights and things, but just making it shinier,
Right.
I
to
think
your
just
point.
trimming back some of the underbrush around the road.
Mhm. Which they're doing quite a bit.
There's
I mean,
quite a
they've
bit
done-
being
they've
done
done
out
a lot.
there right
It's
now.
really cleared out.
Yeah.
With
I
the,
drove it a week ago. and
with the
it was-
Christmas lighting thing,
We
I
were out
remember
there
that
yesterday.
one of their biggest issues was the electric out there.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So like, what would that look like to kind of start getting some of that in place?
Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't pulled costs. I mean, it would be a massive project.
But it might
I'm just
be
thinking
one of
about like
those deals that-
Stonehill, but you'd really want to do underground, And so you're
There's a
you're
good
talking
partner
about,
in town to maybe do that with.
yeah, a lot of the cost though comes from the transformers and the cables, because the transformers for underground are double the cost of the overheads.
That might be one of the things Shay was talking about, is it's phase 1, phase 2, phase
Right.
3 over
Yeah.
a 5-year,
Right.
6-year period.
Yeah, I think that's the way you'd
Is
almost
that-
have the
that-
budget, or you'd have to get a massive grant, right?
Because I'm with Derek, that's a crown jewel that
Yeah.
we're not
Mhm.
taking full advantage of.
Mhm. So we've done a lot of focus on our downtown, which has been good. Maybe in the next area that we put a lot of focus on would be our lake.
Lakes.
Lakes. Yeah, we got 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that idea.
Once we get the dam project.
I know, yeah.
You don't want to put too much money out there until that's done.
Right. Yeah. Once the dam project's done, then we can shift. But CCC, we could start working on.
Mhm.
Has everyone seen the Pawnee Bathhouse?
Yeah.
Have you been out there? I don't know why I would get in that water, but I wouldn't go Easy Lake. But I mean, they get quite a few people. I mean, every time
Yeah,
I've been
they do.
there.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool little spot.
And I know Patty had talked about doing like kayaks
Yeah.
at CC Lake.
Which that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what something
Kayak
like that would
rental.
cost.
Because if we don't stock with the trout, then maybe the fishing will go down. So we could.
Oh, I know,
supplant
we
that
get
with-
quite a few.
I know. There's still people out there, but.
Well, and I mean, to your guys' point, last time we talked, Tandaco needs a bunch of help. You have there's plenty to do out there.
Or even the
you know.
chapel, is that still need?
Yeah, but there's a little bit of money set aside to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
You had in your notes something about fishing dock, which repairing the dock
Oh, that
there,
one's really bad, yeah.
it's bad.
Yeah, it is. It's
Half the time's
collapsed,
underwater.
and
Yeah.
we looked at that last year. And again, we were really surprised at the expense of that, and kind of hoping a different alternative will come along because it was astronomical to replace that. But yeah, so many good ideas, and I like Mayor. I like that idea of maybe focusing on that and coming up with some tangible goals. You know, let's work on this thing, let's work on that thing.
Resurface the tennis courts.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those need it, or convert them to pickleball.
Or
Yeah.
convert
Not
part
all
of
of
it to
them, not all
pickleball.
of them.
Yeah.
Those pickleball people.
Mhm.
The school doesn't have a tennis program anymore, but
Because we have crappy, and we don't have a coach.
it's part of it.
Yeah. The last thing I have on there is just an idea dump. It's something that Chrissy and I just kind of came up with, and it has just a ton of things on there that some are better than others, but the whole point of it was just to get your minds thinking, and it might remind you of a different idea that you've had in the past or heard in the past or something. So I'd invite you guys just to take a look at that. And, I think as we roll around to discuss this again, it would be helpful for me to set some smart goals, you know, to accomplish a few of the things we're thinking about.
So Nate, when I see community events, it reminded me of a question I had this weekend. Did they have the 50-mile bike race this weekend and they didn't stop in Perry?
Yeah, yes, and no, they didn't stop in Perry.
Right.
And was there something we could have done to,
They change it every now and then.
so it was to change the route to make it interesting to the,
Yeah, they did it that one year, but it'd been 2 or 3 years
Yeah.
prior to that one they were here.
Yeah. And that was, I mean, if they did that again, I mean, I remember, so I got invited to go up on stage with Mayor Joyce and welcome all the riders for the event. And I got to say a little spiel about, hey, you're gonna be stopping in Perry halfway through, be sure to da-da-da-da-da. And so, I mean, that was a nice little plug for
Yeah.
Perry.
I mean, there's a lot of people enrolled in that. I mean, for all over the world.
Mhm.
Because last year, Cindy and I were flying out of town, we got on a plane with a couple guys from Canada.
Yep.
That came down for that.
And they stay in Perry. I had
Yeah.
a number of riders staying for
Some of
that.
them camp out in the
Mm-hmm.
square.
Yeah.
Is it a different time of the year than they've done in the past? Is
It's
it-
always just.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
Yeah.
it started around March.
Yeah.
We have on here expand the planes and cars event. Do you have ideas on how to expand that?
Yeah, a couple things, just things from tweaks from last year.
Yeah.
One tweak was the band played way too late. We want them playing initially so that people can enjoy it all throughout. Another tweak is not do it on the same day as the, what was that, Russ? The
That
Texas-
OU and, yeah.
OU Texas or whatever game.
Probably was a tough compete.
People were leaving to go watch the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
And we talked about maybe expanding some of the things that were actually really popular that are really low value in terms of money, like the bounce houses. Those are really popular for kids, and it's like, they're cheap, you know,
Yeah.
get some more out there. But we haven't fully planned this year. We need to hire our intern and get them going on it, so.
You know, with those events, I would definitely start thinking about, like, how could we pull from Stillwater? You know, where you've got like Seth Wadley sponsors the girls softball team, the OSU softball team, and they've had them out here before. You know, like what kind of events could we do to start bringing people to Perry to visit and start learning, discovering like, oh, hey, there's things to do over in Perry, the lake, our downtown. Not just planning things just for the summer.
Yeah.
Along with that, and I know I'm going to repeat myself, it's a heavy lift.
Mhm.
So what is the chamber doing? What's Main Street
Right,
doing that y'all
yeah.
can all do that together?
Yeah, events are it always is a lot more work than you think.
Mhm.
But, I mean, you look at all the events we have, and we're actually pretty event heavy. You know, you have, when you look at all the different events we have across all the organizations. I think I like the planes and cars because it highlighted something that was being missed.
Yeah,
Which
the
is our
airport, yep.
airport, you
Yep.
know? And I think talking about CCC Lake, maybe we can do something like that, but
Mhm.
in my opinion, I don't think we need more events in our downtown. You know,
Right.
I think we're doing great, but highlighting some of those treasures that are around Perry, I think would be helpful.
I think getting electric out there at least a little bit and keep adding to it would help.
Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
able to have events out there.
Yeah, absolutely,
the
because they all
CCC Lake.
take, they
Right.
all take electric.
Yeah.
Any
Yeah, whether it's
event
solar
worth
or
going
light
to.
or
Right.
whatever.
Because there's some electric out
You
there.
could do a cook-off
maybe
or
getting like a
anything
map
like
of
that out there.
what
If
parts
you have
are-
electric.
We mapped it, it's like minimal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, there's almost none.
Yeah.
So it would be quite a lot of work, but to Scott's point, starting somewhere and saying,
Right.
this is the master plan, and we're gonna do this section this year, and,
Right.
I mean, honestly, you'd kinda have to, there's two ways to do it. You'd have to do it like that, because you're not gonna be able to, one, do that whole thing all at once.
Mhm.
And even if you had the Christmas light thing, those are really expensive. So you have to just slowly buy them up, or you'd have to get a massive grant to do it all at once, which
Right.
I think is always a possibility, but
But usually with the Christmas lights, I'm thinking about, so Topeka, where I'm from, up in Kansas, they have a really big one. And those are sponsored by businesses. Like each of the lighting displays as you
You have
go.
like a
Yeah.
little sign that says.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
this lighting display was paid
Sponsored
for, put together by.
That's cool.
Same
Says
way
Bank, this-
Kingfisher's the
Yeah.
same way. I was
And that's
involved
what
in that
a
one.
lot of them are, and I bet
Right.
even Topeka, it probably started, what I've heard is it started small, and they
Yep,
just keep
and
getting more
grew every
businesses
year.
to
Yeah,
To
every
come
year
in
it added
or-
on.
More people drive in to see it.
reasons
Right.
to upgrade what they've already done
Yep.
and stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a cool idea. In some ways, it becomes kind of a contest between
Right.
businesses who can
Yeah,
have the coolest
yeah.
light display, you know?
yeah. And
But
so
you
I
can
wouldn't
make it that way.
Yeah, I wouldn't try to make it like just a city thing that we're buying all the lights and everything. We're just supplying the electric. But the businesses that sponsor the stops along the way are putting together the lights.
So those barbecue truck or those barbecue cook-offs,
Mhm.
is there an organization that puts those on?
There's
Says if
some,
we want to do
yeah.
something like that.
There's some,
Yeah,
CCA.
there's some that do.
There's one in Enid that does quite a few.
Mhm.
I might know some people there.
Yeah. Like the one that we had here for a little bit over the fairgrounds, Cody Solons was putting that one together, and that turned out, I mean,
Yeah.
they had some big turnout for that.
My wife and I go to an event in New Mexico that has a
Mhm.
barbecue contest as a portion of it.
Mhm.
And they charge everybody so much head just to go around and taste.
Yep,
Mhm.
yeah.
You give a little cup with a sample, and I would never dream how much fun it is.
Mhm.
How many hotel rooms do we have in Perry?
I can tell you.
Mr. Mayor, do you know that?
I do know that.
If we
It's odd
just
that
knew
you have
someone
that.
that
I
owned
know
a
that I have that
hotel.
information.
Can you guess?
Huh?
Can you guess? I have no idea. 4 hotels.
It's all to write down what we get.
Yeah, I know, right?
400? I don't know, 400, we'll say 452.
Watch, you'll be
The price is
right.
right over here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You have on here the downtown town square experience, blah, blah, blah. How is the whole renovation thing that Main Street was working on for downtown? Do you know what the status is of that, or?
Yeah, I think from the latest I've heard, it's going well. It's going maybe a little slower than they want, but they are tied to timelines because they have to spend so much
Right.
every year. And I mean, Laura will get it done, I'm sure. But
I know
we've
they're
talked.
getting ready to, they're getting closer to starting phase 1, which would be moving
Which
to
is the
parking.
drive.
That would be neat once it's done. The bike rally last year, we happened to be down there when they were finishing up, and they closed off Main Street, and we're having kind of a, this year, they had it in there, kind of a Centerville Park, make sure everything built.
254.
And it looked like fun. They had band at the bandstand, and
200 rooms. Yeah.
how many was there?
We're double.
254.
Sounds about right.
254 rooms.
Yes.
We're only off by 200.
Anything with the pool, with the covered pool?
Yeah, I think that's something we really have to think about. I mean, our pool definitely needs a renovation. We're kind of making it limp along right now. The thought process is to maybe reach out for a grant in a year or two to see if Molson's would be interested in funding something. We already have estimates on cost and know location. You know, we'll do it right where it's at. But I think that there's a need, and I think there's a desire there.
There's also been talks about Rotary expanding that,
Oh, yeah.
revamping there a little bit maybe.
Yeah, I'd love to cut into those trees. We've explored maybe doing it at the same time because we have a bunch of cedar removal we need to do for the dam project. So I've explored maybe doing it at the same time. And I've had, I don't remember who I reached out to. This is a long time ago. I'll have to look back at my emails, but we were looking at like what a trail system would look like in there with additional frisbee golf.
Disc.
So that part goes further to the east, is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Back towards the dam. down there.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. I think most people underestimate the popularity of that, but every time I drive by Rotary, it seems like somebody's out there playing. And that was actually included on the last year's survey. I don't remember where it ranked though.
Has there been anybody asking or discussing a community garden like in Rainbow Park?
I've heard people talk about it. I haven't had anyone ask for it. But I've heard that they're used, that we've had one in the past and it's been used.
I think the key point too, a lot of those projects they need the support of those local groups, clubs to take those tasks on. I know the community garden's been a topic in the last couple of years. People enjoy it, but they're having a hard time getting people to work in it. So if somebody was to reach out to, I think that kind of started at the Call Street Chapel. So if somebody wanted to reach out there and maybe help keep that thing going and organize it, they would be more than happy to take volunteers to run that. It's just been that's one project I know that's kind of been a topic of concern, and that goes with about any type of project in town. Is it's a great idea. Okay, who wants to run it?
Yeah, crickets.
Yeah.
Let the city do it. Well, the city doesn't have to do everything.
Right.
And the city doesn't have the manpower to do all that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you think about our parks, and I think we would all love to see improvements out of it, but improvements require maintenance, and I mean, we have 3 full-time parks employees.
Yeah.
For
And those
all
3 do
the
an
area,
amazing job.
which is
Yeah.
incredible.
Team,
It's such a good
yeah.
job.
And we have a lot, we have a lot of parks.
They do a lot of mowing.
And I don't know that towns our size have this many parks.
Right.
I remember when I moved here, I was blown away by how much acreage the city owned. Seriously? Yeah.
I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I do too. You know, one of the things on your list though is as those parks have gotten older and the trees have died, there is some need for some replanting or shade of some kind.
Shade, yeah, that's a big one.
Because and just a big open grass area gets awfully hot in the summer.
Yeah. Oh, which reminds me, I was gonna announce this and I forgot. Splash Pad is opening this week.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's gonna be 90 degrees
Yep.
outside.
So we've never opened this early, and I wanted to announce it. We're hoping, we want to see if people use it, you know, during these hot days. So spread the word.
My kids.
Wednesday, it'll be open.
So we picked on Patty enough, I'll get Pam mad at me. I was thinking maybe more STEM opportunities or things at the library, programs for some of the older kids.
Yeah, she's-
Things like that might be quality of life type improvements.
That's a good point.
I think our
Wonderful
library is
library.
pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
it's awesome. I'd like to figure out how to get more people down there. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of really good ideas. I think, kind of like the last one. We just need to think a little bit more about them, decide what we're going to do, and then I need some smart goals associated with what we're going to accomplish.
What outlets do we use for marketing what we have, other than Facebook, Chamber, and, I mean,
Yeah, we have the Chamber magazine that they publish every year. We have, we'll do stuff on Facebook, but it feels like, I don't know this, I don't have the stats on it, but it feels like most of those people are Perry residents, you know.
Or even like, what's our president on OK Travel?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
an updated
Red carpet.
presence.
Red Carpet Country, yeah.
Red Carpet, we publish stuff on it.
And I think sometimes they're starved for information from the different communities, 'cause
Right.
they just don't have anything to give them.
Even checking what we have on oktravel.com. I mean, they even have, I mean, I don't know if they still do, they had a crew that went around and filmed like visiting an area. I don't know if they've ever been to Perry and checking out some of the things that we have.
Yeah.
Well, do we have any more discussion on that? I mean, we could probably go all night with ideas and talking about that stuff. I think we've given Nate quite a bit. Well, if not, then we will continue on. With item number 21, our upcoming meeting review.
Yeah, so upcoming meeting, for the strategic plan, there's actually gonna be a switch because community reports cannot, I've reached out to all the community reports and they can't, report until the 4th of May, so we'll have them come out on May the 4th. The upcoming meeting review, we will talk about communication, for the strategic plan, and I have a couple of things to share with that. One is a landing page that, Tyson made for advertising kind of the development in Perry and development opportunities in Perry that's really wonderful. I'm excited to share that. I think you guys will really like it. And I'll talk a little bit about Heartland Forward and what they're doing and how that connects to the landing page as well. And that'll be kind of the strategic planning portion. In terms of the other stuff, like the ordinances and things, we went over that today with administration and Mayor Wortham, and it should be pretty light. The one thing that is on there that could potentially take a while is my performance of eval. The time has come. Feels like we just did it.
I was gonna say.
I know. It
But,
does feel like that.
So Nate, what was the day we were gonna do our strategic planning meeting? You said you were gonna move it?
Or just change
No,
the
change the,
order.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it'll be
okay.
next council meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Just changed.
On the way we're talking about.
the topic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess in terms of performance eval, you guys came up with a system last year. What can I do to prepare for that? What do you need from my end?
Do we want to send out that survey again?
Well, and I thought that there was also almost instructions for the timeline,
Yeah.
which was part of that. So
Right.
we would probably just need to pull that back up and
Yeah.
make sure we're following it.
So we have the same thing to compare year over year.
Do you want us to meet again and
Yeah, we can keep the same, I mean, if you guys are okay with that, same committee, just
Sure.
get together and get that out.
And then we'll let you know if we need what we need and the
Okay.
timeline.
That sounds good.
Yep. Derek, Randy, and Shay, right?
And it's April when that is,
First meeting in April, so it's April 6th, I think.
that's when it's due, or that's when we're supposed to start working on it.
We could,
Thought it was.
either one, we can get it started
Yeah.
before then if you guys can. If not, then we can
Yeah.
kind of kickstart it off of that. Maybe in the next meeting, go over what the steps are gonna be. Anything else on the next meeting?
It should be pretty light. Yeah, there may be a couple things that come up before we get the agenda out, but that's all I have right now.
Okay. Then item 22, any new business? Don't believe we had any. All right, we will adjourn.
Go.
All right. Let's call our meeting to order for the Perry Municipal Authority. Have roll call.
Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Davis. Here. Goldar.
here?
Rupp.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
O'Shea.
Here.
Worthing.
Here. Item 1, our consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis. Yes. Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
O'Shea.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes.
Focus.
All right, is there any new business? Adjourn.
Okay.
Call our meeting to order for the Perry Facilities Authority. Roll call.
And Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Davis. Here. Goldar.
Here.
Rupp.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
O'Shea.
Here.
Worthing.
Here. We've got quorum. Item 1, our consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, and Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
O'Shea.
Yes.
Worthing.
Yes. All right, any new business? Adjourn.